Overwatch Shooting Star is the newest in the line of animated shorts that promote the Overwatch video games. Um, they focus on specific characters here and there just to give a little bit of the backstory right before the start of the Overwatch game itself. Much of the media in and of that usually ends up taking place before the actual game, where several of the comics will take place during. This one is a bit of a nebulous area in terms of the timeline, as it shows Hannah Song, aka d.va, in basically her mentality as she is the hero of Busan in South Korea. A news report tells of her, being a massive celebrity in the world of online gaming, how she is a big, esports player, and how she's become a hero in terms of mech fights. However, we see her best friend and the mechanic to her mech, De Jong, at least I believe that's how you say his name. My Korean is not at all existent, but he kind of rolls his eyes at the news reports going on. Um, Meanwhile, we see that d.va is fixing up her mech, performing maintenance, repairs, all that. It is very battle scarred and battle worn. The report tells of an earlier fight where a giant ghost mech appeared. These mechs appear every few years or from time to time and just tried their best to ravage South Korea. And this has been going on ever since the Omnic Crisis itself. So several warriors, especially gamers, have stepped forward in order to do their best in order to defend their home. However, during the last fight, everyone else in the mecha organization, that's the mechanized exoskeleton of the Korean Army forces, everyone else in that group, their mechs were badly damaged, and are at varying levels of, operation, whereas d.va is the only one who's actually fully operable and ready to go at a moment's notice. We see that there was a massive amount of devastation and destruction, and because of that, a lot of the other mecha pilots were also injured on top of that. We see that d.va is very much a kind of propaganda piece in terms of the eyes of South Korea. She's used to kind of boost morale. She's shown as this undominable force in terms of South Korea and the mecha team, that as long as d.va is there, South Korea will always be protected. And Deung continues to be like, yo, what's up with all these deals you're going to? I mean, we're party central, right? Because, the media just portrays her as just fun-loving, easygoing, and happy-go-lucky, with all these, brand deals and everything. She is the talk of the town. However, De Jong, her best friend, makes note of the fact that, that's very much not the case. He just mocks it, saying that, hey, why don't we go out and actually have the fun that we're portrayed to be having? However, d.va brushes this off, saying we have to be ready to go at a moment's notice just in case something were to happen. We can't, play around. She takes this very seriously. The protection of her homeland, the protection of the people around her, is absolute serious business to her. She doesn't go out and play games or have the kind of fun that the people portray her as having. She is ready to go no matter what, and if need be, will put down her life for her home. And she even has kind of flashbacks on just how close the last battle was. It has obviously shaken her, and the fact that she is the last mecha pilot standing, is weighing on her. She has to be ready to go at a moment's notice. She is a warrior for the people and the last line of defense. And that is put even more to the test when De Jong notices that there is a bogey approaching much earlier than before from the Omnics that have continued to regularly try to assault the city. Normally they come at regular intervals, but now it's much more earlier. These Omnics have shown the ability to grow and adapt as time goes on. Where they're coming from, what their purpose is, and why they are doing this is very much unknown. But one thing is for certain, if they get through the mecha line of defense at the Bay of Busan, Busan itself will suffer many casualties, especially when they start firing rockets straight towards the city. D.Va goes out and activates her defense matrix, which absorbs a lot more rocket fire than technically that really should. And they pass right by her and go straight for the city. She gives chase, destroying them here and there, but they are relentless, destroying one of her guns. De Jong notices the damage and tells her to, fall back and wait for reinforcements. But D.Va says that, it'll take too much time for anyone to really get out there and assist her. It's best she do this herself. She continues to destroy as many as possible, leaving only one standing to try to assault the city. She does her best in order to take it down, but it ends up grappling her mecha suit and destroys several of the mech's limbs, leaving her completely unable to take this creature down. She notices Busan outside the corner of her eye, and feeling that she has to do whatever it takes in order to save her city, she decides to have Hyung manually overload the core in order to cause the mech to self-destruct, taking the drone with it. He says that it'll take about 5 minutes in order for it to properly overload. However, D.Va says that's not enough time. She catapults from the mech, takes aim at the exposed core, and shoots it, causing it to detonate, destroying the drone, the mech, and launching her towards the water hard. Next thing you know, you see D.Va slowly slipping in and out of consciousness when the helicopter rescue comes in to pick her up, with her being rushed into the hospital and them doing their best to keep her alive. The news report says that, thanks to D.Va, Busan was saved and she managed to escape without so much of a scratch. However, this is very much the propaganda at work, as D.Va was very much injured, and because of this, she will probably be out of commission for quite some time. And we see her continuing to do her best to work on a new mecha for her to pilot when she's able to recover. Yoon kind of, again, being her best friend, playfully jokes about the fact that, we should go out and party like the news report says we do. But D.Va kind of brushes it off, saying she watches too many holovids. I think this was a fantastic story, and the fact that we saw so much of D.Va's life is something that I've very much been waiting to see. D.Va is probably one of the most underdeveloped characters really in the Overwatch roster outside of Lucio, and a lot of that comes from the fact that she isn't really connected to anyone. She kind of lives in her own kind of bubble in terms of where her placement. She's not affiliated with Overwatch, Talon, or anyone else to that matter, aside from maybe Lucio. And even that's a very, minor, connection there. Her role as a kind of symbol of peace, kind of like My Hero Academia, where it's just like she's the symbol of the protection of Busan and South Korea as a whole. As long as they have d.va, they are unstoppable. But that is very much not the case. She's just as human as anyone else. And they go out of their way not to portray her as human. Just saying, like, oh, she gets into a fight and then she goes out and, parties or has fun or plays video games or streams. But that's very much not the case. She takes this all too seriously. Her words when she was about to detonate the core, saying, "See you at the finish line." I'm fully under the belief that she was ready to die. The finish line was death. She was ready to die for her city. And when, we have those lines at the startup of any Overwatch match where I think it was Widowmaker who says the battlefield's no place for a child, and d.va like snarks back, he's like, who are you calling a child? A lot of that comes from the fact that d.va is by no means a child in terms of war. She has seen combat. She has seen hell. She has risked her life time and time again in order to save her city. Very much like Evangelion, which, a few of one of her skins, I think, the blue and white one, which is based off of, kind of looks like, Shinji Ikari or Rei Ayaname's color scheme. She is very close to being a child soldier. They keep a lot of the characters 18 or over in order to, keep from having a more mature rating, but, she is too young to be seeing this kind of danger, honestly, especially in today's world. But that's just the kind of world that she lives in, it when an attack comes, she's there to meet it at all times, no matter what. She's very much shaken up about the last confrontation because she has to stand as a undefeated symbol for Busan and the people at large to keep them feeling at ease, and she rolls with that. She's fully willing to accept this role. No matter what lies the media tells, she accepts it because she's seems to be all too happy just to lay down her life for her homeland, and that is admirable as all get out. You know, the amount of respect I think the community as a whole, and even people who don't even play the games, the amount of respect people will have for d.va is probably skyrocketing after this short because it's given so much insight as to her character, much needed insight on top of that. And that's one of the biggest selling points for this franchise. It's the characters. The gameplay is fun, yes, but it's brought in a lot of people who don't even normally play FPSs. And it's because of these shorts, these lores, the comics, all this and that's really brought a lot of people in to Overwatch as a whole. The little glimpses of these characters' daily lives here and there. And I can't wait for the next short. I feel like they've been coming fewer and farther but in between because these shorts cost money. The amount of detail and production work that goes into these shorts is, these things are Pixar quality for a team that's not about animated shorts, but gameplay. And with the amount of money they're probably pouring into it, I can understand that, they're a little more reluctant to release these as often as they used to, especially now that, the game is probably settled into, no longer, the sales are no longer really growing so much as just maintaining a steady rate. But they're fantastic. I love seeing them at every turn. I always am just waiting to see just how much I'll be touched by each one because each one just has so much personality and life to them. The animation is gorgeous, the coloring, the texturing, just the quality is amazing and it's just fantastic to see. But if they need to take time between each one, I'm happy as long as they at least get one every now and again. I'm completely satisfied with this. I know a lot of people would love it if they just made a movie already, but that's an undertaking in and of itself, and we probably wouldn't see something like that for a solid 5 years if they actually committed to it. Animated movies take time. This is not just a go in and pump it out. I have a degree in animation. I created a animated short that was 5 minutes long, and that took me months. I was doing other stuff on top of that, but that was a undertaking in and of itself. And just these shorts are just gorgeous, and a lot of work goes into them. So be patient with these guys. The amount of craftsmanship that we get takes time. It all takes time. But tell me your thoughts on this short in the comment section below. How has your perception of d.va changed because of this short? Or maybe it hasn't changed at all. Feel free to tell me that as well. And who are you hoping will be the focus of the next animated short? Me, I'm hoping for Lucio. But until then, leave me a like or dislike, depending on how you felt about this video, and subscribe for the next bit of Overwatch lore. I can't wait.